For decades, every classroom and headline crowned dolphins as the ocean's masterminds. Mirror tests and lab tricks supposedly proved it. But behind that convenient myth, damning evidence emerged. Whales coordinate hunts with battlefield precision, whisper songs across entire oceans, and pass culture from one generation to the next. If the evidence for dolphin supremacy was built in captivity, what have field scientists uncovered about the true rulers of the deep? The answer will overturn everything you thought you knew about marine intelligence. In the 1960s, the world's fascination with dolphin intelligence took root in places like the Kewalo Basin Marine Mammal Laboratory and the Miami Seaquarium. These facilities, built for easy observation and control, offered a window into dolphin minds that was both alluring and, as later critics would argue, deeply misleading. Captive dolphins learn to recognize themselves in mirrors, follow hand signals, and even respond to artificial languages. Researchers marveled as a bottlenose dolphin named Nachua chose an uncertainty paddle when unsure, a behavior hailed as evidence of metacognition. Headlines followed suit, cementing dolphins as the ocean's intellectual elite. But the laboratory setting was never neutral. Tanks compressed the vastness of the sea into a few meters, stripping away the social webs and acoustic landscapes that shape wild cetacean life. The behaviors on display, mirror tests, whistle learning, symbol boards were tailored to the confines of human design. Dolphins, adaptable and eager for stimulation, became the perfect research subjects. Their willingness to interact with trainers, to mimic gestures and solve puzzles for fish, made them stars in a scientific arena that rewarded what could be measured and repeated indoors. Convenience, not cognitive hierarchy, set the stage. Whales, by contrast, were simply too large, too powerful, too wild for tanks. Early attempts to keep belugas or orcas in captivity often ended in tragedy or escape. The logistical hurdles kept most whale species out of the lab and, by extension, out of the scientific spotlight. As a result, the evidence base for dolphin intelligence ballooned, while whale cognition remained an afterthought, rarely tested, rarely published, and rarely discussed outside the occasional whaling report or stranded specimen dissection. Between 1965 and 1985, more than 24 major studies on dolphin learning, memory, and language appeared in leading journals. By comparison, whales featured in only a handful, often as secondary curiosities. The lab environment shaped what questions were asked and what answers seemed possible. For decades, intelligence meant what a dolphin could do in a tank, not what a whale might accomplish across an open ocean. This captivity bias didn't just skew the science, it built an entire mythos on the backs of animals who happened to fit our cages. The real test, some field scientists warned, would come only when the ocean itself became the laboratory. Nachua's performance with the uncertainty paddle sent ripples through the scientific community. In the controlled quiet of the Kewalo Basin lab, the experiment seemed airtight. Nachua faced a series of tone pairs, some easy to tell apart, others nearly indistinguishable. On the toughest trials, when the frequencies blurred together, she hesitated, drifting between the paddles before choosing the central one. This was not random avoidance. On easy trials, her choices were swift and confident, accuracy soaring above 90%. But as the task grew harder, the uncertainty response spiked, peaking close to half the time, right where mistakes were most likely. Researchers tracked her movements frame by frame. They noted the difference between decisive, bow wave sprints and the slow, wavering approaches that signaled doubt. The data fit a pattern. Nachua declined trials when she was most likely to be wrong, not just when past rewards or punishments might have conditioned her. In follow-up sessions, when forced to choose on difficult trials, her accuracy dropped sharply, confirming she was using the uncertainty option strategically. The results landed in top psychology journals, fueling claims that dolphins could monitor their own knowledge, something called metacognition. Headlines touted dolphins as the ocean's philosophers, able to reflect on their own minds. Yet the evidence rested on a single subject, a single set of tasks. Critics pointed out the risks of overinterpreting behaviors shaped by years of training and a steady diet of fish. Could hesitation in a tank really stand in for self-awareness in the wild? Even the experimenters admitted the limits. The uncertainty paddle, so elegant in design, captured only a sliver of what intelligence might mean for a creature born to navigate miles of open water. No whale had ever faced a similar test. The logistics alone, size and temperament, and the impossibility of a tank kept them out of the running. The field scientist's voice grew louder. If intelligence is measured by what fits in a lab, what are we missing? The certainty of dolphin supremacy began to crack, replaced by a growing sense of doubt. To understand the true hierarchy of ocean minds, the search would have to leave the confines of concrete pools and follow the animals back to their native element. The work had to move into the open sea, where judgments about intelligence could be tested at the scale the animals actually live. On the edge of Antarctic ice, a Weddell seal rested, oblivious to the 4 killer whales assembling below. 2 whales peeled away, circling the floe with slow, calculated movements, while the other 2 held position, eyes locked on the seal. What followed could have been mistaken for military choreography, except every command was silent, every tactic underwater. Researchers on the research vessel Polarstern recorded the entire event, 17 minutes, 3 coordinated waves, each move logged in real time. The first pair spy-hopped, lifting their heads to pinpoint the seal's location. The second group synchronized their tails, beating the water in perfect unison. On the third approach, the lead whales dove beneath the ice, exhaling a wall of bubbles and surging upward. The resulting wave shattered the floe, sending the seal sliding into open water. Within 4 seconds, the waiting whales intercepted, ending the hunt with a precision that left even seasoned scientists stunned. This was no isolated incident. Across the Southern Ocean, orcas have been observed splitting into specialized teams. Some generate waves, others herd prey. A third group blocks escape. Field notes from 2012 describe a seal scrambling back onto the ice, only for the whales to regroup, shift positions, and try again, adapting strategies on the fly. These hunts demand more than brute strength. They require anticipation, role assignment, and the ability to recover from failure. Reviewing GoPro footage, frame by frame, scientists found evidence of deliberate planning, whales pausing, regrouping, even appearing to signal before launching another attack. Humpback whales, too, display a level of teamwork that borders on the astonishing. In the cold waters off southeast Alaska, pods of up to a dozen humpbacks gather each summer to perform bubble net feeding. One whale dives deep, circling beneath a school of herring, exhaling a spiraling curtain of bubbles that traps the fish in a shrinking net. Others position themselves above, timing their ascent to coincide with the rising prey. At a silent cue, the entire pod rockets upward, mouths open, through the dense ball of fish. Underwater microphones capture a sequence of calls, short pulsed signals that seem to coordinate the attack, each whale knowing its role and timing. These feats of cooperation are not news to those who have lived alongside whales for generations. Tlingit elders in southeast Alaska share oral histories of whales speaking to encircle fish, stories passed down long before scientific instruments arrived. In these traditions, whales are strategists, partners, even teachers. Elders recall taboos around noise during herring runs, speak softly, or whales will withhold the fish. Modern fieldwork has found bubble net sites in bays named in these stories, echoing the old wisdom that whales possess knowledge and perhaps intentions beyond human reckoning. The scale and sophistication of these hunts challenge every assumption built in the lab. No mirror test or symbol board can capture the demands of orchestrating a multi-whale ambush in open water. Each role is learned, practiced, and adjusted in real time. When a hunt fails, the whales regroup, reassess, and try again, sometimes for hours. The evidence, logged in time-stamped field notes and centuries of indigenous knowledge, points to a level of planning and group intelligence that rivals anything seen on land. What drives this cooperation? The answer lies in a capacity for real-time communication, signals and calls that coordinate every move. The mechanics of that communication remain a mystery, inviting closer scrutiny. In the summer of 1967, the research vessel Endeavour drifted off Bermuda, its hydrophones trailing like stethoscopes into the deep. Roger Payne, a biologist trained in animal sound, listened as a low rhythmic pattern pulsed through the speakers. At first, he thought it was mechanical noise, a ship's engine or some distant sonar, but the signal repeated with uncanny precision. Payne realized he was hearing humpback whales singing. What followed would upend everything scientists thought they knew about animal communication. The recordings captured not a random series of sounds, but a sprawling, structured composition. Each song unfolded in nested layers, short units built into phrases, phrases into themes, themes into full cycles that could last for hours. No two performances were quite the same. Over weeks, Payne tracked subtle changes. New phrases inserted, old ones dropped, themes evolving like jazz improvisations. The songs spread across the North Atlantic, with whales thousands of kilometers apart, echoing the same motifs, as if linked by an invisible ocean-wide relay. Decades later, computational linguists would revisit these recordings with tools borrowed from human language analysis. They ran Zipf's law tests, the same statistical checks used to study the world's spoken tongues. In human languages, the most common words appear twice as often as the second most common, 3 times as often as the third, and so on. Humpback songs, it turned out, followed the same pattern. The frequency of each sound unit dropped off predictably, suggesting an efficient, information-rich system. Hierarchical models mapped out the song's deep structure, units nested inside phrases, phrases inside themes, themes inside songs. The complexity rivaled that of some human musical traditions, with rules for repetition, variation, and transition. In 2019, a team of oceanographers stitched together hydrophone data from across the Pacific. They traced a single song as it traveled over 14,000 kilometers, beginning off Western Australia, picked up again near French Polynesia, and finally detected off South America. Each population of whales added its own twist, but the core structure remained intact, like a melody passed from village to village. The song's journey was mapped in real time, with researchers emailing each other in disbelief. This can't be coincidence. It's propagation of cultural memes. A linguist at the center of this work describes the findings with quiet awe. Humpback songs, he explains, are not just long or loud, they are organized, rule-bound, and capable of rapid evolution. Markov models, the same algorithms used for predictive text on smartphones, reveal that whales follow strict syntactic patterns. Phrases appear in fixed sequences, themes cycle in predictable orders, and new variations ripple through populations within a single breeding season. In some years, an entire population will abandon an old song and adopt a new one almost overnight, a cultural revolution with no parallel in the animal kingdom. The structure is not mere ornament. Playback experiments show that whales respond to specific song elements, altering their own calls in response. Some researchers believe the songs serve as mating displays, social signals, or even tools for navigation across vast, featureless basins. Others see them as cultural artifacts, evidence of minds capable of learning, memory, and innovation on a continental scale. The evidence is no longer limited to anecdote or speculation. Statistical fingerprints, Zipfian distributions, hierarchical nesting, rapid cultural turnover point to a system that encodes and transmits information with remarkable efficiency. The ocean, once thought to be a silent void, is filled with symphonies that span entire hemispheres. For decades, the spotlight lingered on dolphins and tanks. But in the open sea, whales have been composing, relaying, and reinventing songs that defy the limits of human imagination. A sperm whale's brain weighs 9 kilograms, more than 4 times the mass of a human's, and 60% larger than an elephant's. This is not just bulk, it's structure. In 2014, neuroanatomists dissected a pilot whale brain and counted over 37 billion neocortical neurons, the highest number recorded in any mammal. For comparison, the human brain holds about 16 billion. The neocortex is where higher-order thinking happens: memory, planning, self-awareness. In pilot whales, this region is not only vast, but densely packed, suggesting a capacity for processing information that rivals anything on land. But the story runs deeper than neuron counts. Sperm whales possess a paralimbic lobe, an area associated with emotion, empathy, and social bonds, proportionally larger than that of any primate. Within this lobe, researchers have identified clusters of spindle neurons, the same rare cells linked to empathy and intuition in humans. Great apes, and elephants. These spindle cells fire rapidly, connecting distant brain regions in a flash, essential for social intelligence, emotional regulation, and even moral reasoning. In whales, they appear by the thousands. Brain mass alone doesn't guarantee intelligence. What matters is how these brains are wired for the lives their owners lead. Whales must track shifting alliances, remember migration routes across hemispheres, and coordinate with dozens of kin in real time. Their brains evolved not for tool use or language as we know it, but for a kind of social navigation that plays out in 3 dimensions, over distances humans can barely imagine. The architecture of a whale's mind is built for complexity, for memory, for empathy, qualities that underpin the feats witnessed in the wild. The evidence is no longer locked in the skull, it pulses through every coordinated hunt, every song that crosses an ocean. Survival curves flicker across the ecologist's screens, each line tracing the fate of orcapods in the Pacific Northwest. The numbers are unyielding. Pods led by post-reproductive matriarchs reach an 85% survival rate, far surpassing those without elders. When a matriarch is lost, survival drops sharply, sometimes by half within a year. These matriarchs carry more than memory. They pass down migration routes, salmon runs, and hunting strategies that define the pod's future. The family tree becomes a map of survival, each branch a record of knowledge tested by time. But human activity distorts these patterns. Since the 1960s, naval sonar has swept through the oceans, its frequencies traveling for hundreds of miles. Declassified records from the Mariana Archipelago show 8 beaked whale strandings between 2007 and 2019, with 3 aligning exactly with days of military sonar. The odds of such overlap are less than 1%. In the Mediterranean, 43 years of data reveal 5 mass strandings during sonar periods, more than double the expected number. Necrocies find gas bubbles in tissue, a sign of decompression sickness, a trauma more familiar to divers than to whales. Official statements cite adaptation, but the data points to mass mortality and the quiet erasure of inherited wisdom. The debate over whale intelligence now collides with ethics. Critics challenge the use of encephalization quotients, arguing that brain-to-body ratios ignore culture and emotion. In 2021, Project CETI began decoding sperm whale communication with AI. By 2025, AI-generated codas matched wild whale clicks, hinting at structures like human vowels. The question lingers. As technology edges closer to true exchange, what do we owe to minds that have shaped the ocean's memory for generations? Right now, AI is working to decode the meaning behind whale songs in real time, a feat that could redefine our understanding of intelligence itself. As research accelerates, the gap between human and cetacean minds narrows. If we truly recognize whales as conscious cultures, our choices in the ocean will matter more than ever. The future of these giants, and our own, depends on what we choose to hear.